We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. And medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "O me, O life, of the questions of thee recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, what good amid these, O me, O life?" Answer, that you are here, that life exists, an identity, that the powerful play goes on, and that you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be? So welcome, ladies, for everything that's happened this week, and you guys are all set, and we're all just doing a cleanup, and I just wanted to do, that was my little thing I would do. So I think I'm gonna go up for my first open micer this evening. He's always the first up here, so ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Joffre Stewart. Joffre, come on, everybody. Thank you.
Lead off man, get on base.
I hope this one's good for you. What do you need? You need a music stand. Bum, bum, bum. We usually have that stuff set up in advance. Yeah, for those who need a beer stand, we'll put a beer stand. Well, hope that works for you.
Okay.
You got it? Awesome.
I'll read 3. This first one I give the title, Day 1 of Lollapalooza, Counting Down to Hiroshima. Watching a sunflower fetchingly fetch towards the Lollapalooza in a bubble of insouciant summer, I wonder how it might survive under the august guns of Zion, 100 years since Germany declared war on the Tsar in the Rothschild Protocol for destroying them both, before turning Germany around to dominate the Europe that Hitler only had 12 years at. With Israel having won that second great war, half the Heimat budget goes to Zion shooting down the Palestinians. Like piranhas in a barrel, I like to say, with 1535 dating these lines, falling more and more behind, impossible to write immortal verse fast enough to keep up with the mortality. And with no August moon in the night sky, neither here nor, I suppose, over there, where the Yanks send monies and F-16s for a quantity of murder, which at some point turns into genocide, or maybe never will, if that is a political decision governed by the vote power of perfidious Zion itself, as may be the case with ceasefire, which for Israel meant unremittingly taking down the defenses of the enemy it created. When their defenses were defended, so-called ceasefire ended. Diplomacy does what diplomacy does, makes war. This time on Palestinians, more gingerly on Ukrainians, disastrously for Syrians. At this writing, not having seen the text, I don't know what technicalities were agreed to, or in what language, State Department English being inherently anti-Palestinian. But lawyering war, international law, is a sure way not to get rid of it. And this is the one most of you have. Who bombed America? Roman 2. The epigraph is from Sherman Skolnick, who was reported murdered by Mossad 8 years ago last May. Report from anonymous source. New York City firemen, there were bombs in the building. Cyberspaceorbit.com. Crucial info evidence. Explosives toppled WTC. Amiri Baraka cannot be found in the table of contents of volume 2, Alt 8, number 6 of a Superior Street poetry mag from the Palm Coast of Florida. And white lines for a black man, rather discontent with whiteness, written between the Bay of Pigs and Nixon's Revenge in Dallas in the year poetry went to the brink, are unable to tell us that Israel bombed America, which leaves his memory safe for the millionaire memory of Harriet Monroe. And the title here is Nagasaki Day. That was last Saturday. I blame Israel for everything, as Israel does what it does best, kill Palestinians. As the bell tolls, somewhere between 1900 and 2000, I don't very well keep up with the murder efficiency of God's chosen people. Thank God I'm an atheist. If you want to find humor, I'm not good at that. But of course, it isn't fair to blame Netanyahu for blaming some unknown criminals who might well be his own Shin Bet, murderers of Rabin, because all this would not be possible without Anglo-American was Jewish ruling class, which has been in control of history ever since Napoleon proved that an atheist can be crowned by the Pope. But there is much more point in blaming poets who so easily give up taxes to keep a job. Slave labor by another name. A poem should speak to its community, and from it I can extract some blame by not having knowingly paid since a month in 1943, probably a month after Hitler had canceled the Heimat's atomic bomb, which places me in 4 paychecks in a history that gets back to the title, which no one has in a democracy, so much more deadly than before those Rothschilds joined the aristocracy.
Thank you. I seem to have been on the winded side because we started up with a feature, and then we've got another feature later on from Bob Rashkow, and I've got new issues of cc&d and Down in the Dirt out. I don't have cc&d here, but I have Spiraling right here. Spiraling, because they all have jellyfish on the covers, which is really fun to look at. But I figured before I called up Lynn West, who's our next reader, I was going to read something from Down in the Dirt, and this is the 2010 prose edit of What the Hell Is She Complaining About? I can't go around telling people about what you did to me. You see, nobody wants to hear it, and nobody wants to hear a girl whining. What the hell is she complaining about anyway? But you know, nobody knows the effects of what you've done. Nobody knows that I showered for weeks, no, months, to try to feel clean after what you did to me. Nobody knows why I had to be so violent, and I'd have violent fits of rage, how I'd hit the wall, rip out the plaster. You want to know what I think of men now? You want to know their place in my life now? You see, I didn't know what else to do, so I became the rapist. And now I let men do nice things for me, but I always keep them at a safe distance. I never let them get too close, because I don't care how nice you are. I'll always keep you at arm's length. I learned my lesson. So yeah, you had that effect on me, and I have to bottle it all up because no one wants to hear all of the details. I mean, I wasn't physically injured. What the hell could I be complaining about anyway? But you know, there are times when I wish that you left a mark, like a bee sting or something, so that people could see a welt from what you had done. Wait. No, I take that back. I wish I was stung by a bee and I was allergic to bees, because then my blood pressure would drop, my pulse would feel rapid, I'd fall into anaphylactic shock, my skin would turn white before I'd go to the hospital, and they'd try to keep me alive. All because of a bee sting. Well, everyone else is thinking, a bee sting. What the hell is she complaining about? Short piece of prose. See, I know, but Down in the Dirt. And I got a lot from my wound there, so please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for another silver record. Give it up for Lynn West. Little jellyfish there, too.
Try not to get worried, try not to turn on to problems that upset you. Oh, don't you know everything's all right? Yes, everything's fine, and we want you to sleep well tonight. Let the world turn without you tonight. Close your eyes and relax. Think of nothing tonight. Woman, your fine ointment, brand new and expensive, should have been saved for the poor. There will be poor always, pathetically struggling. Look at the good things you've got. Speak while you still have me, see while you still need me. You'll be lost.
You'll be so sorry when I'm gone. Try not to get worried. Try not to turn on to problems that upset you. Oh, don't you know everything's alright, everything's fine, and it's cool, and the ointment's sweet for the fire in your head and feet. Close your eyes, and relax. Think of nothing. Think of nothing. Think of nothing. Dead babies can't take care of themselves. Nothing tonight. I'm blind, was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet, afraid to speak the truth to those we know. Best friends on buses appear as angels descend and sit on the seats. And the pews are filled with strangers, angels descend, and the riders on the A-line become the preachers. In a mobile sanctuary, communion is shared from a paper bag. And there's a little one. But a grain of sand in an oyster, the gleam in your father's eye, you travel on a road that turns and churns, ever rolling, bowling over, until you become the pearl or ferment into a bottle, as you still gleam in my eyes. That was one, yeah, thank you.
3 or 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I want to make sure we've got enough for...
Yeah, okay, I'm
Is that
done.
cool with you?
That's cool, very cool, thank you very much.
Yeah, Kellen.
Bye, bye.
Because it's a double feature night, where oftentimes it's just
Okay,
like one.
okay.
And so it's like, usually it's 3 or 5
Or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, you already got 3, you did a song, you did 2, and what the. So, and I see him walking right on up here because I'm not going to even mince words. Give it up for Jerry Pendergast!
Open letter to Sadako Sasaki. It's in 3 parts. 1. The August that you were 2, a large chunk of metal with a tail called the Little Boy hit your city. Tossed you out of your home 3 days before Fat Man hit Nagasaki. But you lived to run, the fastest in your school at age 10. Lived to feel your blood turn pale, legs turn purple, full paper cranes. Before your last meal with family and friends. By your hospital bed. The October you were 12, and I was 7 months. Your statue holds a metal crane with raised arms standing on a stone structure taller than an Olympic podium, hollow in the middle, in Hiroshima Peace Park, dedicated in 1958. In Seattle Peace Park, dedicated Hiroshima Day 1990, you hold a crane with left arm and laid forward, as if you were taking a stride. A chain of smaller cranes, multicolored like Olympic rings, draped over your upper body. If I were a sculptor, a trap metal would also drape your neck that a lump grew on at age 11. 2. My first Summer Games memory is from Rome, 1960. Long jumpers landing in sand. I wonder now if a jumper's imprint is like one left by a vaporized body. You would have been 17 years of age. I remember Tokyo, 1964, October, the same month you died. Gary Gubner from NYU, arms raised in a completed clean and jerk, shot put sailing from his shoulder. I imagine you at age 21 running in the same stadium. If I were a painter, I would portray you in a lighter, shadowy image on a track with opponents and teammates. A crane flying over the shot put. 3. Fukushima, quake, tsunami, power plant explosion. Images on my TV screen. I see a young girl running through streets near Fukushima, another near Chernobyl. Are T cells growing inside their bodies? Can any treatment defeat the T cells? Is your spirit with them? Will they be nameless because these disasters were not caused by bombs? I wrote a kind of parody about a year ago. I hope it didn't offend anyone. It was a parody of just comments on different forms of poetry with play on words. But understand it was not out of disrespect, it was out of envy. Because up until fairly recently, when I've tried to write in classical forms, I've just totally fucked up. But I think I have some haikus now, or at least a haiku form, because the nature in them is usually human nature, that I think are halfway decent. Reasons for detention. Being late for class. An immigrant without grant. Harbor runaways. Street scenes. There's a series of called Street Scenes. Afternoon watch. Trace muchachos pass. A studio. Eyes peek from cars, shops, and condos. Migra, cafe infiltrator. Migra disguised as three-piece suitors out tonight for culture and fun. Here's one called whale oil painting. Tail fin touching frame. Blue background can't hold body. Spout fills white border. This is called bordering. Child at border can be ill from bites, hunger, thirst, but is child legal? Okay, how are we on time, Janet?
If you get another one, and just so that you know, we were not applauding at each one because it was very cool to listen to them all. So I'm just letting you know that was cool.
Could I just make an announcement?
Oh, if you must.
Well, all right. Well, there's I'm a member of Athletes United for Peace, and the last few years we have dedicated the race called the 5K, called the Heat of Summer Run, to or walk to Sadako Sasaki, because I can't help thinking that she possibly could have been an Olympian. And if you read any quotes of hers, she obviously was a child who wanted peace. So if any of you would like to walk or run along the lake and have a little breakfast afterwards at Heartland Cafe, come to Heartland Cafe at 7000 North Glenwood by 8 a.m. this Sunday morning. Thank you.
Whoa. you very much. Sorry, I sound like a game show host. Thank you very much.
I won't bother showing off anything or reading anything from the current issue of cc&d, which quasi-matches because it's another jellyfish cover. And then he moved. And I think a little bit later on, our open micer, Bill Yarrow, is going to read a couple pieces that are from that. But I wanted to say first before, and he can walk out here, before I call up our next open micer with Bob Loris, I just released a book from Rochelle Holt, and it's called Shadowing Other Footprints. And I don't do this because I publish things, I just do them so I can have weights for lifting, because this is like a 610-page book. These things are massive, and it's a combination of poems and prose, and there's a lot of amazing stuff in here. I'm just like publishing crazy lady here with all these books going on. So if you want to check anything out about it, you can always go to scars.tv for info. And Bob's like, Tuerlingus thumbs, hello, when can I read? Please give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Bob Lawrence!
I did that. I'm trying to get this thing out of here.
You know, is this one easier? Because I've had this one. This is easier.
This is fine. It's just a little tiny.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not going to read tonight. I'm just going to talk. I'd like to talk about Robin Williams, okay? And now I'm a comic poet, so it's been a little hard for me, you know, this whole thing. And there's this line in Gerard Manley Hopkins about the Holy Ghost spreading his wings over the whole world. And I like to think of poetry as spreading its wings over the whole world of literature and embracing both comedy and tragedy. I'd like poems that you don't, you know, that you wouldn't feel comfortable reading at a funeral home, you know? They don't all have to be that way. But anyway, what I've been doing for the past couple of nights is I've been watching, you know, his stand-up comedy till, you know, like 3 and 4 in the morning. And I've ventured a little bit into stand-up, and my stuff is sort of like a little sonatina. But when I see him, it's like the whole symphony orchestra. It's really amazing stuff. So I decided I would bring it into class, and I'd show some. I can imagine what you might be thinking. Bobby, that's risky. A student might come up and say, Professor Lawrence, you showed something where a guy said, fuck an asshole. I'm going to the dean. Well, that's fine. They're laying me off in 2 weeks. Go ahead. Now, that didn't happen. They liked it. You know, how can you not like it? This guy has such incredible energy. Like if he lived in the 30s, they would say, scrap the plans for the Hoover Dam. We'll attach a couple wires to this guy and he'll light up the whole Colorado Valley. And I tell my students, only connect. You know the E.M. Forster quote, only connect? Well, Robin Williams makes connections like crazy. Different personas, voices, ideas. It's going crazy like a popcorn machine, you know? Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, yeah, and I sometimes refer to my notes like he doesn't have to. But anyway, it's like a poetry of the physical. It's really amazing. And then, of course, he doesn't shrink from difficult topics. Talks a lot about drugs. Apparently, he's done almost everything, you know? And when he's up there, he gets into the state of somebody who's drunk, on cocaine, whatever. One thing we have to be happy is that he never, I imagine, went on speed. Because that would have been bad. It was like, ooh, is that a rock taking off? No, that's Robin Williams on methamphetamines. Yeah. But anyway, all the tributes and the comments have been pouring in now. And even Rush Limbaugh is saying things. There, it just goes to show you that left-wingers are unhappy. Well, that's what he said. Sure, Rush, this guy did humanitarian things. All you do is add to the hatred in the world, you know?
Amen. And he's happy doing it.
Yeah.
Tell it, Bob.
And I ask you, where's the deity when we need him? Robin, take the belt down from the door and put it on your pants where it belongs. And you, Rush, you say that you're on talent loan from God. Well, I've decided it's a toxic loan. Your history, your time is up. Now, of course, if Rush died, all the progressives would think, thank goodness that asshole is gone. But on the surface, they'd be very respectful. Well, you know, Rush was a little bit excessive, but he was a good entertainer. We're sorry that he's gone. You know, they'd say that. Now, one reason for that is, you know, like, there's this general fear of death. Jeez, if they take Rush, they may take me. I better behave myself. And the other thing is just social custom. I mean, did you ever wonder why we save our most solemn times for things that aren't there? For the dead and for God. You know, those are the most solemn times. Now, by God, I don't mean, you know, like everything. I mean, I'm not saying that you look in the universe and that's all there is. If you've ever seen a diagram of the large scale of the universe, it looks like the brain. Maybe we're all part of some supreme intelligence. When I say there's no God, I mean the mythological one who has a lot of outlets in Chicago here. Because to believe in that guy, you'd have to believe in something like this. Hello, mankind. Do you like what I've done for you? Grand Canyon's kind of cool. But you know what I like best? I've made you the sexiest of all the animals. They only get it on when they mate. But you're horny all the time. Yeah, fuck around the clock. And when the hormones are raging, what do you think of around the clock but fucking? Yeah, that's the way. But also, I throw in these rules. No nookie before marriage. And when you're married, don't you dare touch someone else. Because you know what happens if you do? You go to hell and you burn for all eternity. That's the way I like to set things up. And by the way, what I'd like you to do, though, is in all my outlets, I don't have as many at McDonald's, but they're really a lot nicer, aren't they? What I want you to do is put up on the walls for all the kids to see. God is love. Doesn't that make sense? I'm sorry, folks, I just can't buy that. But anyway, fortunately, Rush is like an outlier, you know, when it comes to talking about Robin Williams. One thing that was really strange is one guy said that when Robin had two people there, he was tremendous. But one-on-one, he had no social skills. I mean, that's hard to believe. The guy can empathize with anything in the world. But that's what the guy said. But that still is a tremendous surprise to me that it happened the way it did. I mean, you look at Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve and Robin Williams were roommates in college at Juilliard. And Christopher Reeve, as you know, fell off a horse, fell on his head, and he was a quadriplegic. But he clung to life. He wanted to stay there. He hoped for a cure. Robin Williams, Robin Williams, who did the eulogy at Chris's funeral, Robin Williams had everything. Artistic success, financial success, 3 wives, 3 kids. And then boom. I mean, depression is such a powerful thing. And I know this from my own experience. One time I was driving back. I was visiting my folks in New York, and we're driving back in my father's car. And he tells me, oh, by the way, Bob, it was sort of a matter of fact, your mother tried to commit suicide. I saw the pills there, and I called them, and they pumped her stomach, and she'll be there to greet you. But she's not much into cooking, so I guess we'll order out. And I think it was James Taylor James Taylor suggested that, well, you know, with a mind like that, maybe he just couldn't handle it anymore. But I like to think that no, it wasn't inevitable that he died. Because, you know, like maybe if his wife didn't have separate bedrooms, that was strange. She went out at 10:32, I don't know. But anyway, maybe if they slept together, that wouldn't happen. Or maybe if a friend had seen what was going on and done something. That's the really hard part of this, is that it really didn't have to happen. Anyway, this is a poetry house, so I'd like to close with one short poem, or haiku. Is that the ocean? No, just the wind through late summer leaves. Thank you.
Psycho recording camera lady, I'm going to ask all people that come up here in the future, please keep yourself close to this mic, because I'm having to swing with
Bob Leonard, and I'm like, where is he? And he's coming.
Because we're like the NSA, we want to record everything that you do, so it can potentially be a podcast. But I don't know how quickly it will be this time, because we got 2 features for it. But if you guys can stay with the mic, or if you want, we can bring this other mic over here and stay in the spot so we can actually see where you are.
I was gonna say, to let
You guys know, I've got, just so that I'm gonna do it now, so that everybody knows, the next open micer is Dave Gecic. We've also got, after that, Patrick Curley, Bill Yarrow. We've got Dan Weinberg. We've got Leonard. Oh, we're gonna end the night on Leonard, which is awesome. But because he did this thing for the comment about Robin Williams, and at the beginning of the evening he did this, and not all of you are here, I'm going to do this very briefly before I call up Dave Gecic. This is to quote Robin Williams from Dead Poet Society. We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion and medicine, law, business, engineering. These are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "Oh me, oh life, of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of the cities filled with the foolish, what good amid these, oh me, oh life?" Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on, and that you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be? Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Dave.
Do you want to move this one? Is this a better mic?
I always thought that one was a good one. Do you
I think
want
this is a good mic.
and John said, no, use that one because you're led to it.
Okay, now no, use both mics.
Well, because it might echo.
They won't echo funny. Is this echoing funny?
Stereo.
Okay.
It might be. I'll leave it that way in case. Whatever people can choose.
Anyways, Leonard's going to read tonight.
Yay!
I haven't heard him read for like 4 years. It's going to be pretty cool. So I'm just going to do one poem. It's from my Elephant series. It's a poem that I hardly ever do. And it's not a new poem, but it's a poem I hardly ever do. I have studied the bones of mammoths and mastodons. I have been through the archives and studied the text. I know what creatures had their claws into Van Gogh, Baudelaire, Hart Crane, and Elvis. I know of these extinct creatures, for I have seen their bones. I wander the streets of my town, searching for the elephants, but the elusive beast always seemed to hide from me. Could it be that elephants too are extinct in the place where I live? There are signs in the town which say the jungle lies that way, but I have always avoided dark streets. I think the elephants may have gone there. To find them, I must go into the jungle. Find the water hole where they go to drink in wisdom and experience under the eyes of the big cats waiting to feed on the weak and the crippled. I am not strong enough for that journey and will never drink the waters of the elephants. Thanks.
And he even plays the guitar for you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the man I'm so famous, seen him forever, and it's so awesome to have a bad pleaser of a Patrick Curley.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
And I walk away and this thing's like, good to see you. Sorry, it's right there.
So I'll try to do 2 quick ones.
It might get echoey.
She kissed me. She kissed me, not returning my kiss. She walked to me and kissed me. My heart stopped. Her smile, again, melted me. After a day of regretful sorrow, anxiety that would not diminish by tears or exercise, my knees almost buckled. It was a mere soft kiss, on my lips, but at the time, I needed it most. Because Janet always likes me doing new things, debuting something only a few days old. What was said in two parts, part one. She said quietly, "It's time to die." She said quietly, just a whisper in the ear. "It's time to die now. Roll left, roll right. There's no escape. It's time now." She said on Tuesday, always on Tuesday, in the morning, before sunrise, after the birds start singing, calling out for the light to come, for warmth to come. "It's time now." She said, "Did you listen? Were you paying attention? It's time," she said. "You just closed your eyes, too." She said, rocking forward and back. She said, while unwrapping the folds of existence, she said, "It is not here," that she says, wound tightly around the pencil in order to make it right. What, she said, above the treetops and the breeze of life. She said, below the subway, deep tunnel diamond mind of infernal depth. She said, just yesterday, out the window, in the rain, loudly, at a school bus. She said, as the universe expanded to the void. She said, while pigeons relieved themselves of excess weight on the platforms of public transportation trains. She said, next to nothing, nowhere, in the middle of it all. She said, enough to stop traffic in Times Square on Saturday at noon, while all the Kansas City tourists watched with eyes wide and mouths wider. She said, are you ready for what she said? Then it all fell into a puddle, evaporated, and was gone, gone, just like what she said.
Awesome to have you back.
And yes, having new pieces is very, very cool. And I think maybe even in the next issue of cc&d there might be his classic Sanctuary poem in it, I think. I can't remember.
It is.
Why? Do you have a copy or do you just remember?
No, I remember seeing the poster.
Oh, yes. Well, then he knows because he's awesome. But I was just trying to remember. And the gentleman is going to read next. And by the way, is there anybody that I've missed? Because there's Bill and Dan and Leonard, and I believe that's all that's on the list. And I'm really looking forward to him when he comes up. And there you are. You're there. You're all awesome. And he might say something about cc&d.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Bill Yarrow. Woo!
I'm going to read a couple poems from cc&d. I have two poems in it this issue, and but first I'm going to read a poem that's scheduled to appear in a magazine called Altered Scale. This is called Dislocutions, and it's an alphabet poem, but it kind of has the alphabet disguised in it. Dislocutions. My ex-boyfriend lives in Attica. The wedding colors will be ochre, black, anisette, and beige. Politically, the coalition failed due to a lack of application of confluence. Leonard sat in the shaded corner of the deck. The opposite of Louis, she explained, is L. It's futile. Can't you see it's futile? I shall season your petition with the utmost gravity. Come, I will show you the way to Hillcrest. Not I, not I, not I, not I, not I. To a cinematographer, color is a drug, Michel Jean. You've never read Klopstock? If you want me, I'll be on the lanai. Unaccommodated woman, over-accommodated man. Artichokes with ginger, cube steak with fennel, potatoes with nutmeg. The Symbol concert will be Tuesday in the Taj Mahal of Ontario. A sentence which reserves its inventive zest for the end is called periodic. My favorite writer, Quintilian. She wanted to put the oh man back in romance. A letter written from the bottom up would end with a salutation. I went to Japan, and all I got was this lousy tanka. Assonance in Ulysses. Bellicose boys, Jericho noise, varicose veins. Shakespeare, Cooper, Blake, Wordsworth, Yeats, all Williams. Question, this name in Basque means owns a new house. Answer, what is Xavier? A perfect day for banana, or the bride comes to yellow. I need to reread The Prisoner of Zenda. These are two poems in the current issue of cc&d. This one's called Florid Psychosis. On the advice of a friend, I stopped dreaming. As a result, I've developed a florid psychosis, in which everything I've dreamed for the last 33 years is now real. I have new friends, a new job. My dead relatives have all come back. I'm half my weight, have all my hair, reside in Prague. It's February 1924. Kafka won't die until June. Freud's 67. He's just published The Ego and the Id. My superego refuses to read it. Lottie Reininger is working on the cutouts for Prince Ahmed. I bought a radio embroidered with pearls. I tuned it to the future, but it only plays the sleepy past. Thank you. And this one is called Dad in the Red Light. My father is 22 years old. He stopped at a light at Broad and Market. He sees a man in a tan jacket start to cross in front of him. All of a sudden, the man disappears. The light turns green. Confused, my father gets out and walks to the front of his car. A guy is face down on the ground, his head wedged in front of the passenger wheel. He selected my father as his agent of suicide. I've been held hostage by this story ever since I was told it when I was 14 or so. My dad was trying to teach me the importance of checking things out. Then I saw all his life wannabe suicides flit toward him like moths. He saved them all. Thank you. Here you go.
I don't even remember the issues that are in there that he's got. He's like, what? That's when they're. I'm like, is that what you did? Because it's been so long since I read them. So, but anyway, this is it. cc&d, blah blah blah. But I'm going to troll around once more before I call up Dan Weinberg. Well, once you call him up and he starts reading, I'm going to say, hey, in case, because I did this early on, is there anybody that missed out on a phenomenal donation for a phenomenal feature from Bob Rashkow? Give it up for the monster! Oh, I know you guys want to hear more than that. Give me something for Bob Rashkow. Come on! Yeah! So I'm going to troll around for a bit, and then Dan's going to be like, oh, I missed out, but all right, I'm going to get you later. Give it up for Dan Ryder. Give it up for my darling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Robin Williams. He's very funny. Bob. Maybe it's in DC on YouTube. He describes being drunk and how glamorous being drunk is, throwing up on people and falling down and saying fuck you to your family and getting away with it and not really getting away with anything. But I guess life is to be faced. You gotta stand up, face the music, write the poetry, read the poetry, and do all that stuff. Okay. Words. Words. Words drip one after the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the page, off the page. Drip on the floor, into the sewer, into the pipes, into the rivers, into the ocean, to the wide ocean. Words get drowned. Or maybe the words can swim. Swim to safety, away from the depressing shoals. Towards the open sea go the words. Through the Middle East, through the bombs and gunshots, through ISIS and Hamas and the Israeli army, through the Mediterranean, up the Spanish coast, up to England, then across to the old USA, through New York, through Boston, through Dayton to Chicago, to right here on this stage. Thank you. I have a garden. Everybody should have a garden. Woohoo!
No, I wish I don't have a space for it.
Yeah,
I want to build something in my back porch or something.
You got to get a community
Plants that are growing in my house, but it's not enough.
community garden. You can buy a 4x8 space for $75.
Cool.
Yeah. Grow tomatoes. Okay. Is the dill growing? Herbalastics. Exercising with herbs. Herbalnomics. The economy of herbs. Herbal story. The history of herbs. Herbal acting. The drama of herbs. Herbal cooking. The cooking with herbs. Herbity. When you add herbs to life. Herbalicious. The taste of herbs. Herb tree, a tree made of herbs. Thank you very much.
And I think we have one more open micer, and then we're going to have a 5-minute break before
For a novel feature. So Leonard, are you here, my darling? Get on! Leonard! And these things have been hanging out here, so move this stuff out of the way. How's that for you? You've got a few. You can use that. How long will you be? We want to hear you, so. At least 2 of it tonight, because we like you. We like you.
Bonsoir.
Hello, bonsoir.
This was written at the time of the fall of the Soviet Union, and sooner than we think we may see the fall of the Russian Federation.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Psychological vacuum. In essentially a psychological vacuum, when the center has frequently not held, tragedies of cutting and tragedies past burn the mind. How did other ages address this issue? We sat at dinner in a Turkish restaurant, eating dishes of Byzantine provenance, claimed by both Greeks and Turks, accompanied by Italian wine. On the wall, images of Hagia Sophia or Hagia Sophia and charcoal shadows centered the ages of emperor and padishah, of patriarch and caliph, the padishah legally emperor in Byzantine war. As the liberated danced on the wall in Berlin, vacuum became an inescapable subject. Could the horror of Hitler's hysteria have been possible without psychological vacuum? From the depositions of the First World War in Berlin and Vienna, from the murders in Yekaterinburg. In that year, people danced on the wall in Berlin. The Archduke buried the last empress in Vienna. The Supreme Soviet functioned as a legislature. Freedom flooded the vacuum from Berlin to Vladivostok. In physics and politics, vacuums inhale their own finality. Thank you. Partant pour Arabie means leaving for Arabia. Sartan de la Syrie means leaving Syria. Partant pour la Syrie was the national anthem of the French Empire under Napoleon III. They did not play the Marseillaise. Partant pour l'Arabie. The troops left for Saudi Arabia, recalling crusaders going to Jerusalem, and Napoleon's troops leaving for Syria. I was playing the harpsichord. My friend said, "What was that song? Play it again." Partant pour la Syrie, leaving for Syria, written by Queen Hortense of Holland in honor of Napoleon, the anthem of the Second Empire. Partant pour la Syrie was not a good idea. Sartan de la Syrie was much better. New words suggested themselves, but I did not progress beyond Partant pour l'Arabie. My French did not fail me. The future inchoate in thought failed to communicate, failed to elucidate, failed to form. Whether sitting at the harpsichord, or at a Royals with Stalichnia and Panic, or at the season's last baseball game with a crowd from Statues at Wrigley Field, the feeling was everywhere that nothing would be the same in that autumn of background notes of 1914 and 1939. The taste of the apples, the subtle dryness of the chrysanthemum scent. On the table, a perfect rose, petals the color of ripe peaches. It captured the tone of the harpsichord. I played no more that day. Merci. And I wish Jeff would have heard this, but he's not.
But it's on a podcast so that he can be able to see it as a YouTube clip later on.
Okay.
So he can see, you have to tell him about it. It's this for you.
Bloomsday. On the eve of Bloomsday, unconstructed conversation referred to the deconstructionist doctoral candidate at O'Rourke's. She insisted that only the parts of Ulysses in English had importance to her, the reader, the monolingual reader. She tilted at the multilingual Joyce, who wrote in convolutions of English and other tongues, with many thoughts within them and without them. The candidate had exploded and had said that Joyce's words were irrelevant to her, incomprehensible in fact. She would deconstruct the English from between the sirens, from the weaving of Penelope, from every illusion, whether Yiddish or Greek, Latin or French. Popular references of the day could not exist. The references to love's old sweet song lead from crescendo to crescendo in Molly Bloom's soliloquy of affirmation, anticipating Corpus Christi and ignoring the deconstructionist. We remembered Buck Milligan in his morning ablutions chanting, "In Traibo Arateri Dei." I go to the altar of God in Latin. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I need to ask, Lynn, it's National Left-Handed Day today, is that what they said?
It is.
It's Left-Handed Day today for anybody who's left-handed. Yeah! How many of us? Yeah! Get everyone's lefties! Yeah! Rock on! And because they've got this whole thing about being...
Right mind.
No, I'm not saying anything about anything. Oh God, they're all talking. left and center, you all. But no, I just saw this thing about actually teaching left-handed children how to be able to actually function in Uganda, because there was stuff that was spoken here earlier for people that weren't able to make it, and I'm just all like gooey on the left-handedness right now. So I need to ask a question, because we've got a half hour left and we should leave on time. Does everybody want to drink and want to take a little break, or would everybody like to hear Bob Rashkow's features right now?
We want Bob! We want Bob! We want Bob!
I think the masses have spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is more adorable than anything I've ever seen ever. I even featured with him recently. I love this man that he's here, and please give it up. Fill the space, my darling. Give it up for the guys who are so Bob Rashkow!
Thanks, Janet. Thanks for sticking around. I guess it's that time again. It's come around again. Okay. This is called Rain and Tears. The epigraph: rain and tears are the same, but in the sun, you've got to play the game, Aphrodite's child. Actually, they're not. Rain is when all your misery is made manifest by puddles of sticky, liquid, muddy, floody barriers to getting something done. Tears are real. Tears jump out at you, of you, through you. Crying can be controlled, or it can't. Tears are truth. Not like on the 5 o'clock news, not like in West Side Story. I cry when I'm awed, or when I'm in love, or when I think of how I've wasted eons of valuable time. Then, if it should storm, I can think of the momentary reward of vindication. This one is for John Good, or however Johnny pronounces his last name, and he's not here to hear it, but I will send it to him. It's called Tending the Flock. I am the staff. I rise to the occasion. Nothing is left to be done but put up the impenetrable fence that lurks between the patrons and the bartender. Peggy breezes in, early and eager, just after 6. Believe it, she will be here for last call. Survivor of the tequila battles, the pantheon of pool sharks, first served, last out. There's the Miller Lite mechanic with his sports pages and his salmon patties from Long John Silver. Something fishy about that guy. At precisely 1 a.m., Fernando's, several of them, spill over like mildewed honey. This isn't Cheers, and they know it, but everybody knows their name anyway. Oh, I wouldn't start nothing with these bums. Anyone see my Discover card? Dragon's Lair. What'll it be, Jane? Get your filthy hands off me. I don't even remember you. That was sensational. Drop the bomb. Hey, no fighting in my next time I fall in love. I shit you not, guy. I shit you not. Draw. Give me back my smartphone. Dragon's Lair. Come on, come out, Virginia. Don't make me wait. You've had enough already, Charlie. Here it is, 2:45 already. Just about time for the Jesus man to make his quiet, almost unnoticed entrance. Well, this morning I can testify. I too am washed in the blood of the Lamb. The Yarrow platter I had from Mr. Greek's is snaking its way through my intestines, eagerly awaiting rebirth. Old, all but forgotten movies. If I can even remember, it was indeed real. The clipping rang a bell. There we stand, arm in arm, a captured moment, a meaningful reaching. You may have forgotten it all. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I recall. We're in this new, different place, and we're together again. Past and present blend until they become indistinct. I see you now as then. You remember, but not at all the way I imagined you would. Not the way I remember me with you. Not the way I felt about you. Not the way my stomach tilted when I tossed you back the ball. Thank you. The teacher was telling history. The great Chicago fire spouted forth the legend, and we listened, rapt. A few students laughed. I didn't. I believed what she told. Teachers never lie. They know about a lot of things. Now, in grown-uphood, I'm more likely to believe the kids, the youngest ones. Now I know they speak from the heart. It's a strange, wondrous art. Children say what they feel. Teachers process and digest. That was 46 years ago. What history gets repeated today? What excuse do they give for 9/11/01? Do they say we were bombed because we needed too much oil? Or because we were hated and feared? Down which road are they steered? A 13-year-old girl has a vision of mother staring blindly at a TV, crying night after night. Does she read in her text of American heroism that we helped to end terrorism? Can it make any sense to her? What does teachers say? That we did only our best? Their custom home is now a trailer because mother's job is dead. She looks to find work, gives up and seeks warmth instead. What road can she follow now? And to think that this city was rebuilt all thanks to the stumbling over a lantern of Mrs. O'Leary's cow. Do you still believe that now? All right, I got a few more.
Yeah!
You tell.
Custom home's a trailer home. Love it. I can catch that. That's awesome.
Yeah, those were the days. All right.
No, I know I would.
For Robin Williams. It's been such fun playing with you. Do you have to become a playing piece again? An inanimate object that I can't feel, can't see, can't touch, can't love? Wait, one more scene let's just do. I know, the one where you helped make a tired gang of warriors' days brighter. Or the one where you did the silly space alien adjusting to American life in the 1970s? No, let's do my other favorite. Let's do you as Mr. Keating. Aw, come on. I'll be Todd, or Neil, or Knox, or Dalton. Granted, I'm not handsome like RSL or Ethan, but I can sound my barbaric yawp. I can bounce through the woods rapping Rachel Lindsay. I can... Don't go, please. Look up. Don't hold your head down. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Don't leave me all alone here on the stage. Look up. Look at the bright, bright stars. This is my other tribute poem for someone who left us 2 years ago. This is for Matt Barton. It's called Left. Matt has gone downstairs, descended into his haunted basement, legal papers tossed into the unfeeling wind. He is one now with his demons. The rattling menagerie, the agony no longer buried in a place where no one can find it. He has rearranged the furniture to accommodate the mist of Nirvana. No longer reaching fingers into regret-laced silence, no longer reaching for the perfect words that might conceal sticky anxieties, no longer afraid to take those hesitant, creaking steps into the challenge of his lifeline, into the unveiling of his lawyer's mask, the lover's mask, the poet's mask, the Superman costume, the quiet, painful endurance of horrid home recollection. He is listening to our words, hearing a piano concerto, hearing the voices now calling to him, wondering out loud where he's gone. But Matt isn't gone. He's just gone downstairs to meet the tiger face to face and shed his armaments forever. But Matt, you forgot your bag of tricks. You didn't bring it down with you. You've left it here. And it continues to share its brilliance, its magic, the gift of gab that gave you to us. Love, Bobster. Some of you heard this one at Let Them Eat Chocolate about a month ago. How to act. The first rule is never rely completely on the script. There's nothing wrong with improvisation, as long as it doesn't obliterate the direction of the scene. The second rule is don't try to help the others with their lines. Silence can be a relief. The third rule is always try out for a role that you're scared of playing. If it's a lead role, you never know. You just might get cast. The fourth rule is be yourself, but stay in character. The last rule is have a great time on stage. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? There's been a lot of talk lately about immigration. So I have to read one poem by somebody else. And I'm sure most of you are already familiar with it. But I felt mandated to read it tonight. The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
Yay.
Fun.
Oh, a nice long one, I hope.
It ain't
You
that
should
long.
read.
It ain't that
We
long.
want to hear you, lover.
Gotta figure out where I put it.
I'm going to interrupt because your soul is good.
Oh, okay.
No, it's okay. I just want to give you a hug.
Yeah, I love to dredge that one up from
No,
time.
no, I just want to do that then.
Okay, this is another tribute to a man who's very much alive by the name of Timothy Baltz. It's called Tim. Sorry.
Take a minute.
He isn't the same guy riding the crowded Clark Street bus, but not the barrel of joy dancing around the stage, the bucket of thrills, grabbing guys randomly in the clinch, winking at me and you, sensing I wish I was up there too, getting victimized by Tim. There's this sun around him. He's here to play, here to moisten my day. Tell him you love him. His eyes burn with delight. Buy him a beer. He'll be your bud for life. But he's not the same guy, looking up from his texting, between Grace and Southport. Puppy dog expression, cherry frost lips, scattered freckles, deftly skilled hair, red, blonde, that sculptured head, retreating back down. I can't meet his eye. I jump off, whisper, hi. Thank you for sticking around.
I don't even have my future feature schedule, which is right over there, but I wanted to share something with you guys first. I just sent an email out to the cafe list. Some of you people, and some of you people why I act, and you go to theaters and the like. Some people like Bob Rashkow here, and other people that I know that have done theater stuff before. After all of my years, I decided I would apply for becoming a Beast Woman. And I am doing a solo performance for the Beast Woman Rising in September. And for technical details, it is September 21st, starting at 7 p.m., I believe, at the Den Theater, 1333 North Milwaukee. And if you want to know anything about it, come and bug me, any way, shape, or form, or go to beastwoman.com for info on it. But the thing is, I've done...
BeastWomanProductions.com.
No, it's beastwoman.com. Well, I don't know. Is it Beast Woman Productions? Is that what we do? Well, I don't know. Well, I know beastwoman.com works. Whatever. Just, or freaking Janet Kuypers at Gmail, or Janet Kuypers on Facebook or something to ask me. Anyway, I'm kind of excited about this because for all the years I've done everything under the sun, I've had short story stuff done, but I've never done anything with theater. And although this is just like a little 5-minute thing with fantastic guitar from John Yatko, for people who know stuff like What We Need in Life, or some of my poetry like Fantastic Car Crash, it's going to be some sort of medley like that. But it would mean the world to me if anybody would come to see this theater production. Thank you in advance. And now I'm done talking about me because I'm getting all chunky the way Bobster was. But upcoming features that we've got going on, because in just 2 weeks, the stuff. Oh wow, it's a late night in 2 weeks. We've got on the end of August 27th, we've got AQ, who is this awesome guy that used to live in Logan Square, is on the south side, and is hanging out. He's really awesome with his rap. He's joining Esteban Colon in 2 weeks on August 27th. Hey, September 10th, we've got, I think we know Bob Lawrence and Bill Yarrow. They're both features here tonight. This is crazy because we've got like more and more nights of double features, because in the, except of course for the end of September, September 24th, which is actually the evening before Rosh Hashanah, but that has nothing to do with anything. But we've got one feature, count one, but he's only worth, he's one guy. Buddha 309 is going to be our feature here in the end of September. If you want to, and I'm going to go on into October, because we've got GPA and Alicia Blinn and Pam Miller and Shirley Newman, and I'm going to stop talking, because if you want to know anything about the schedule, you can always look online at www.chaoticarts.org/thecafe. In case I said it too quickly, chaoticarts.org/thecafe, because we have the Cafe Gallery, and we've got the schedule on and up, and I would love it if you guys would come in 2 weeks before for a thing that's going to be a late night thing from 9 to 11 for a great show. And if you want to know anything, come bug me, and thank you so very much for being here. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Thank you.